In a few bars and other venues across America and most other parts of the world, it is possible to see a performance just like this one. This is not the only type of performance, however, that someone can expect to see from a musician. There are plenty of other gigs that people do.
What gigs do you guys perform at, mostly?
Mostly clubs, bars, stuff like that. That's like the norm in Austin.
Yeah, there's a lot of little clubs and bars, especially hidden ones that people don't even know about.
Everywhere.
And then for me, as far as bassoon, church gigs, and some like projects with local composers that need bassoon, which is really cool.
That does sound really cool.
It is fun. You find someone that's like, oh, I don't know, I want a lowish sounding instrument, a bass clarinet, and then I'm like, I'm sort of like, kind of like a bass clarinet, and so I just kind of offer my skills there. And generally, the composers are good enough to where they can like rewrite treble clef to bass clef, so they can incorporate, what I can read into their project.
What kind of gigs did you start off playing?
Primarily, early on, they were jazz gigs with, some were jazz combo gigs with other high school students. We had started a combo that was getting some paid work. But then by my junior year in high school, I was working professionally not only with my combo of other student musicians, but also in some professional groups, playing dance music a la soul and funk and Tower of Power and that sort of thing. And starting to enter the gigging community that includes sort of playing weddings and private parties and that sort of thing.
If one looks in the right places, it can be really easy to find these opportunities. Sometimes it can be difficult, especially if you don't do the proper research, make the right connections with people, or just aren't what someone is looking for.
When I was in Austin, I would every now and again peruse through the Austin Chronicle,
Mm-hmm.
and I would see things, and there was a lot of BS in there, but sometimes you would find a hidden nugget of gold.
Yeah, I'm sure those are hard to find, even for like weddings and things. You never know if you're going to get those either.
Yeah, it's sometimes like I had one I answered to, looking for a horn section. He was supposed to pay $300 a man, and he handed us all a check for $150, and we were like, "What is this?" And he said, "Well, they didn't pay us as much," and it was a rigmarole. So I stopped using the Chronicle for pro stuff several years ago.
Oh, the Chronicle stopped being a viable source then.
Yeah, there's a lot because it's a free ad source.
Ah,
You
gotcha.
can post things in there any way you want. Yeah, so usually friend of a friend or someone you've worked with in the past is the best resource to find work. Going to jam sessions too, that's a great way for jazz musicians, for anybody that's looking to, expand and can solo. And
Much like other professional jobs, there is a mutual understanding between musicians, band leaders, and the people in charge of hiring entertainment for either their venue or events they're hosting. There of course are bad gigs to take, but depending on circumstances might be necessary. And since a musician is in charge of their own autonomy, they get to choose whether or not they take them, whatever their reasoning may be.
Keeping up the balance between gigging and teaching, but other aspects of my life, such as family.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's that too. That's a job.
Right.
That's a job, and so that is difficult, especially not only in terms of the time that the gigs take away from family, take me away from family, but some of these gigs require long distance. Sometimes having to stay overnight or stay several nights away from family. So it does have an effect, certainly, on other aspects of my life. I always made sure, though, that my primary job, teaching, was going to, take precedence. So I was not going to allow anything else to affect my job of teaching. So if that meant I had to cancel a gig or here and there or turn somebody down, I was going to do that because I could not allow any conflicts with my teaching job.
I like to have 3 things, and this is how one way that I kind of measure it. It's like, one, I want it to be like, ideally, this is my ideal. It's like, ideally it's like, whatever I'm working on, the music I'm working on is something that I like I enjoy it, and sometimes it surprises me what I enjoy, so I try to, be open to a lot of things, because I've been, at times, closed-minded, and then listened to something more and ended up really liking it. So I know, my tendencies are like, oh, if I don't necessarily like it in the beginning, still to kind of check it out. But ideally, it's like, stuff that I really like, and then also that it pays good, that it pays what the gig should, of which there's different criteria, and then thirdly is that it's something that is like maybe some career boost too, where you're either getting like to play with some people that you want to play with, or work with people that you want to work with, or maybe play a really cool venue. So so it's, as far as like, I'm not so picky about the music. Like, if it's like, basically what I think of it is I can make money playing my instrument. And for me, if I'm doing that, it doesn't really bother me. Like, if it's just that I need to be paid for the time. So it's like, if someone wants me to play a wedding and they want me to play like a bunch of songs that I don't know or I don't like, and it's like, well, that's fine, but I'm going to charge you X amount, because not because I don't like the songs, but because like I have to like learn all the songs and take all the time to research those songs, as I'm, just like the caterer has to learn to make the meals or whatever.
Right.
And then I also have to like set apart that time, and a lot of what you're paying for with a musician isn't necessarily for that. Like, a lot of times people say like, well, you love what you do. And it's like, yeah, I love playing for that 40 minutes, but to play that 40 minutes, it's like a lot of prep time, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. So sometimes my criteria of saying no to a gig is if I don't think it's worth the money or the time. Now, if I love the music, then I'll do it anyways. So if I get one of the 3, then I'm cool.
So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get out of where you're having to get paid a flat rate. You want to build a big enough fan base where you can charge $20 per person for them to come in. That's how you can walk out of the club making $300 per person. Now, there are acts in Austin that do that. They'll play a club, they'll make $200, $250, but they have worked their tails off to get to where they're at. They have went against the notion of Austin, which is, you gotta do corporate event gigs to make it, blah blah blah. They went against that and did their own thing. They believed in themselves, they invested in themselves, and now play the club, get $200, $250, just as a guitar player. So the band leader is getting like $500 just to play the club, not wearing a suit, not wearing a tie, not sweating in a suit, but casual clothes, $300.
Yeah.
So,
and that's just for,
right, that's when you build up the following. The key is to build up the following, because a lot of people forget that your audience is your boss.
Yeah.
That's who your boss is. It's not the band leader that's shouting at you. It's the audience. The people that are paying to come see you. That's your boss. That's who you always need to cater to. And today, in this day and age, we're getting lost in that. We're trying to cater to everything we want, the music we want, instead of listening. Oh, what kind of music do these 9-to-5ers that are working all week, that want to come out on Friday, pay $20 to come in, pay for all their drinks, and then tip the band $50? What do they want to hear? Then you can walk out with your band members making $700. Happy band, happy life. Everybody wants to play with you.
Well, let me give you my mantra. And the mantra is kind of new
Okay.
in my life. So let me predate the mantra. when you are a young aspiring musician, you say no to very little things. You say very few things. Little would be the wrong. Very few things, and the reason for that is you're hungry and you want to play, and so you take everything you can because it's a great learning opportunity. Even if you're not really making ends meet, it's worth playing the gigs. Having moved back to Texas in 2010, my mantra quickly became, after we first moved to town and needing work to make money, but also it's Austin, right? So you're living in Austin, you got a gig.
Right.
After a brief, short, intense, hot affair with the gigging life, I quickly realized that that wasn't who I was made out to be anymore, and I developed this mantra. When getting a call for a gig, the thought process that I must have for myself is this: feed my soul or feed my wallet, preferably both. And by that I mean this: I will play a gig that's going to end up costing me money if I'm going to get some sort of soul satisfaction from that, and it's going to feed my spirit, whatever that is, wherever that is. And conversely, if that's not possible, if it's going to be a soul-sucking gig, it's going to be a wedding playing really crappy music that I don't like for a bride who's a brat, it's really going to hurt my feelings, then it better pay really well. Or I say no. The gigs that I am most inclined to say yes to are the ones that have both of those components. So I sort of have a sliding scale rubric system to them. But to decide like which of those things I'm actually doing, which direction am I going to go?
Musicians that gig on a daily basis have their way of doing things, like most human beings do. They think of different things depending on what career paths they are all going in, but everyone that has been interviewed has had the same thoughts on a few things. First, the music gig economy needs to start keeping up with the times. $100 for a couple of hours might have worked 20 years ago, but it is almost nothing now. Second, to get the gigs you need to be the one that puts yourself out there. Advocate for yourself because no one else will. Third, be professional with every gig you do, and network as much as you can, because that is how you get the good gigs. And lastly, it is still possible to enjoy what you do, but still think of it as a job. Become fluent in business speak and learn to be organized in day-to-day life as well as at work. This has been my presentation, and I am willing to answer any questions anyone might have. Thank you for watching.